Seeing what others do not see is not an exaggeration, it is a gift. You capture hidden truths, perceive intentions in the air, and feel what no one admits. This sensitivity has been with you for a long time, and although it may seem like a burden at times, it is a clear sign. You see beyond because you were prepared for this. It's not about magic, it's about discernment. You sense when something is out of place even before it happens. People try to disguise it, but you see. Environments tire you, even without explanation. Emotions arrive before words. This is not weakness, it is living spirituality. God did not give you this sight for nothing. He positioned you to see what many still ignore. This vision may isolate you, but it also guides. It disturbs those who live in illusion, but illuminates those who are ready to awaken. In this video, you will understand why you perceive what others cannot, and more, why this can no longer be ignored. Because denying this gift is the same as silencing what God has shown you. Before continuing, follow the channel and activate notifications. There are moments when something inside you tightens, even when everything around is calm. It feels like a silent signal lights up from within. You don't know exactly what is wrong, but you feel it. This feeling comes before logic, before explanation. And almost always, you realize afterward that intuition was right. This type of perception is not learned from any book. It simply happens. The body changes. The breathing becomes heavy. The environment feels strange. You try to ignore it, but the sensation remains. It's as if your soul is picking up on something that hasn't yet arrived in the visible plane. And the more you remain silent, the stronger this warning becomes. It's not fear, it's sensitivity. It is as if your awareness is always a few steps ahead. You feel the energy of people before they open their mouths. You know when an environment is heavy, even when everyone is smiling. You identify the loaded silence amidst ordinary conversations. It's an internal reading that doesn't stop. Sometimes you even question yourself. Am I imagining this? But over time you realize that you're not. The signs always come before the facts. Something uncomfortable happens and you remember. I had already felt this. It's as if God has given you an emotional radar, a sensor that reacts to the invisible with silent precision. This type of sensitivity can be exhausting. You pick up on what others don't notice. This keeps you in constant alert. Even in moments of rest, your spirit remains attentive. And this requires energy. That's why you feel the need to step back, to quiet down, to be alone. Because your field is always absorbing and processing what is still forming. You notice people who pretend well. You feel when someone is smiling on the outside but freezing on the inside. You notice subtle changes in behavior that no one else sees. Sometimes you feel pains in your body for no apparent reason. These are reactions from your emotional field to what is to come. Your body speaks, and you have learned to listen. Over time, you stop doubting this intuition. You come to respect each signal. You no longer need proof. If you feel that is already enough. This protects you from wrong decisions, keeps you away from dangerous places, and brings you closer to the right people. This sensitivity, which seemed like a burden at first, transforms into direction. It also helps you notice when you're going off course yourself. A discomfort arises, and you understand that you need to slow down. A weight appears, and you know that you need to withdraw. Even before the external confusion happens, you have already felt the internal deviation, and this allows you to correct yourself before breaking. This type of awareness is a silent gift. No one sees it from the outside, but you feel everything. And although you may not know how to explain it, you know when you need to change course, disconnect from a conversation, or leave an environment. The wisdom is not in understanding. It is in trusting. And you have learned to trust what you feel. It's not about predicting the future. It's about being truly present, feeling what is happening now, even if it is still invisible to the eyes. This perception is a powerful tool. And when used with balance, it guides you through lighter, surer paths that are more aligned with who you truly are. You perceive what most do not say. While others listen to what is being said, you feel what is being hidden. A glance, a tone of voice, a poorly disguised gesture. All of this speaks to you. Even when the person tries to appear fine, you feel that they are not. And this happens all the time. Sometimes it is uncomfortable. You want to believe what the person is saying, but something deep down shows you otherwise, and that something does not fail. It could be a tension in the air, a forced silence, or a smile that does not convince. Your reading does not come from logic. It comes from the soul. It is like an invisible language you learned without meaning to. You have tried to ignore this, to pretend you didn't see, to accept what was said and move on. But you can't. Your intuition nudges you until you acknowledge there's something wrong here. And usually there is. This sensitivity is not a mental trick. It is a form of discernment. It is your soul decoding what the other has yet to muster the courage to admit. This can put you in difficult situations. You notice when someone is lying, even if no one else sees it. You feel the weight of those who smile in pain, and this makes you carry truths that are not yours. Sometimes you see too much, and this hurts. Because while everyone moves on, you have already understood what is hidden. Your presence makes some people uncomfortable, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you see what they do not want to show. You become a mirror. And not everyone is ready to see themselves. That's why some distance themselves. Others try to silence you. And some even pretend they didn't understand you, to avoid dealing with what you revealed without saying a word. This ability to read the unspoken also brings you closer to those who are ready to change. People who need clarity feel relief around you. Without explaining much, they open up. They share secrets they haven't told anyone. They ask for advice they've never asked before. And this happens because you convey truth. And truth attracts those who wish to heal. You do not force any of this. It happens naturally. It is your vibration. It is the field you carry. And even though this may seem simple, it is powerful. You do not need to guess what the person is thinking. You feel it. And this sensitivity, when respected, becomes a tool of care, of protection, of wisdom applied in silence. Over time, you learn to filter what you absorb, because not everything you read needs to be carried. Some truths are only meant to be recognized, not resolved. You understand that your role is not to fix others, but to not deceive yourself with what has already been shown. This brings you lightness and maturity. This reading you have of people is not judgment. It is perception. It is not superiority. It is spiritual sensitivity. While many cling to words, you see the intentions. And as much as this may cause internal conflicts, it is also a protection. You know whom you can count on. And you also know with whom you should not open up. This gift guides you. And the more you listen to what you feel, the more life shows you what is real. The masks come off quickly. The words lose strength. Only what is true remains. And you recognize this in the eyes, in the silence, and in the vibration of those who stand before you. Have you ever felt bad out of nowhere? A weight on your chest, a knot in your throat, an unexplained tightness. And when you look around, everything seems normal. But inside, something is bothering you. This happens because you absorb. Your soul connects with the environment, with people, with emotions that are not always yours. This sensitivity is like an open field. You enter a place, and within minutes, you already know if it is light or heavy. Even if everything looks beautiful on the outside, your body reacts. You feel discomfort, fatigue, or sadness without understanding where it came from. Many times, it is the energy of the place that has brushed against you. You also feel for those you love. If someone is feeling bad, even in silence, you notice. You sleep poorly, wake up restless, and think about that person insistently. And then you discover that they were indeed going through something. Your connection goes beyond physical presence. You bond through emotions, through intentions, through the vibration that comes from afar. This also manifests in casual encounters. Sometimes, a quick conversation leaves you exhausted. A person you barely know transmits pain, anger, or anguish to you. And you feel all of that as if it were your own. When you leave, you carry with you a load that doesn't belong to you, but that stuck to you. Carrying these pains without realizing it can overwhelm you. You end the day without energy, without explanation. And the only thing that happened was, you absorbed too much. The body locks up, the mind tires, the mood fluctuates. And only when you withdraw, become silent, and take a deep breath can you return to your own center. Over time, you learn to identify what is yours and what belongs to others. It's not always easy, but it starts to become clearer. You understand that feeling does not mean carrying, that perceiving does not mean solving, and that helping others does not require you to hurt yourself in the process. This deep empathy is a gift, but it needs boundaries. Because if you do not take care of yourself, you lose yourself. You absorb so much from others that you forget about you. You start living reactions that do not originate from your own story. And that confuses you. You feel as if you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And you are. Learning to cleanse your field is essential. A longer bath, contact with nature, true silence. All of this helps. Because you do not need to close yourself off, but you need to strengthen yourself. Being sensitive is not being a sponge, it is being a channel. Feeling, recognizing, and letting go, without accumulation, without guilt. You feel the world in a way that few understand. And even when no one expresses gratitude, you know, this sensitivity is part of who you are. And if used wisely, it does not weaken you. It makes you someone who illuminates without burning out. While many live in the moment, you see the pattern. You know when something is repeating itself, even with different faces and stories. You notice when someone is trapped in a cycle, when they act on impulse, when they repeat behaviors that have gone wrong before. This stands out to you. You see the script behind the scene. You can identify behaviors that return disguised. People who claim to have changed, but walk the same path. You don't need to wait for the end to know what will happen. You have seen it before. You have felt that environment, that energy. This vision is not judgment. It is sensitivity. It is your field recognizing an energetic pattern. This ability also applies to you. You sense when you are about to make the same mistake. When you are repeating old habits, even in new situations. This bothers you. Because your consciousness doesn't let you be at peace. Even before everything repeats, something inside you already warns. This is familiar. You have been here before. Seeing patterns can be exhausting. You observe people you love hurting themselves with the same choices. You try to warn, guide, protect. But you are not always heard. And that hurts, because you see clearly, but you cannot prevent the other from needing to learn in their own way. This clarity often comes with a sense of powerlessness. Even so, you cannot pretend that you do not see. The repetitions become evident. Similar words, similar decisions, similar pains. You see the cycle, you see the point of origin, you see the pain that still commands that behavior. And all of this arrives effortlessly. Your mind and heart have been trained to perceive what is behind the surface. This makes you someone who anticipates. You change before the damage occurs. You learn faster. When you realize that you are entering the same place as before, you change your course. And this protects you. It matures you. It positions you. It doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It means you sense the mistake before it grows. Seeing patterns also gives you clarity about the paths of others. You do not fall for just any narrative, because you do not let yourself be swayed by appearances. You observe behavior, vibration, choices, and this shows who the person truly is, not who they say they are. This deep reading guides you with security and realism. Over time, you learn to use this as a tool. When you notice a repeated cycle, you take a deep breath and observe. What is this here to show me this time? This simple question takes you out of the victim mentality and places you in control. Because when you recognize the pattern, you can finally break it. And that is true transformation. You do not see only the now, you perceive the origin, the repetition, what is unconscious. This is a rare skill, and those who possess it must use it wisely. Because seeing beyond is a blessing, but also a responsibility. And the more you understand the cycle, the more freedom you gain. Have you ever tried to be part of groups, places, environments? Forced yourself to like what you didn't like, pretended that you weren't bothered by what you felt, but it never worked. There was always a discomfort that no one saw, a feeling that you were the odd one among the normals. And this accompanied you for a long time. There were phases when you thought the problem was you, that you needed to adapt, yield, ignore your own intuition just to be accepted. But the more you tried, the more you disconnected from yourself. Because fitting in meant silencing yourself. And every time you tried to mold yourself, your light grew dimmer. You were not born to adjust, you were born to see. And this sets you apart, not out of pride, but out of mission. God gave you spiritual eyes not to follow the flow, but to see when the flow is going in the wrong direction. Your distance was never rejection. It was protection. It was preparation. People feel that you are different, even if they cannot explain it. Some approach you with curiosity, while others distance themselves for no reason. Your presence makes uncomfortable those who live in lies, because you cannot disguise it. You cannot pretend that everything is fine when it is not. Your soul carries a type of truth that exposes, even in silence. Over time, you understood that this not belonging was always a response. God was showing you that your place was not where everyone was, but where few have the courage to go. Your discomfort was a sign of direction. You do not fit in because you were not born to repeat. You were born to transform. This does not mean eternal loneliness. It means that your connections will be truer, more conscious, more aligned with who you really are. When you stop trying to be accepted by anyone, you start to be recognized by those who truly see you. And this changes everything. The weight becomes lightness. The silence becomes strength. You learn to honor yourself, to respect your perceptions, to withdraw from places without guilt, to not negotiate your essence for belonging. This is spiritual maturity. It is knowing that inner peace is worth more than any external applause. Because those who need to pretend to be accepted are already paying too high a price. This awareness liberates you. You stop running after approval. You start to walk steadily. And you understand that you were set apart, not rejected. You were shaped, not forgotten. Your role was never to fit in. It was to see what others do not see and move forward, even if alone. Because those who carry vision also carry responsibility. Your not belonging is, in fact, the clearest way for God to remind you that you came with a different purpose. And now that you understand this, everything aligns. You stop fighting against your own nature. And finally, you find peace in being exactly who you are. You don't need to say anything to be noticed. Your presence speaks. Even in silence, you are perceived. Some people avoid you for no clear reason. Others approach you as if they feel secure with you. It's as if your energetic field reveals something that cannot be hidden. And this has an effect, because your energy communicates what your words do not always say. Your silence carries truth. While many speak to fill the void, you choose to be silent to maintain integrity. And even in silence, you convey firmness, awareness, and presence. Some people feel uncomfortable with this, because your light touches parts of them that are hidden, and not everyone is ready to see themselves with sincerity. Your vibration does not allow superficiality. Those who approach you feel this. They cannot maintain masks for long, because you do not judge, but you see. And seeing is often more powerful than confronting. Your energy reveals. And when this happens, the truth arrives before the words. Even without realizing it, you end up being a mirror for many people. And mirrors are not always welcome. Not everyone wants to see what they are hiding. That's why sometimes your presence makes people uncomfortable. But those who are ready to grow feel relief. Because near you, it is possible to be real. And that is rare. You have learned that you do not need to defend yourself. Those who understand you feel. Those who do not feel distance themselves. And that's okay. Your silence is not absence. It is density. It is maturity. It is response. You are present, attentive, and firm. And that alone transforms the environment. You did not live everything you lived for nothing. Every pain, every silence, every disconnection had a purpose. While many were distracted by the external, you were being shaped on the inside. God prepared you in silence. He molded you amid the confusion. And He did this because He entrusted you with a mission that demands inner strength above all else. You learned to support yourself. It wasn't easy. But now, looking back, everything begins to make sense. Every sensitivity that seemed exaggerated was, in fact, spiritual sharpening. God was aligning you with something greater. You developed discernment. You learned to perceive when something is not true, even if it looks beautiful. You learned to trust what you feel, even when everyone said otherwise. This is not pride. It is vision. It is the ability to see beyond appearances, to feel what is behind, to follow the narrow path even when the wide one seemed easier. This preparation required you to break cycles, to distance yourself from people, to face dark days alone. And in many moments, you thought about giving up. But something inside you insisted. Something said, "It's not over yet." Because you were not called just to endure. You were called to transform. And this requires a deep foundation built in silence. Now you are beginning to recognize that you carry something different. Not superior. Different. Something that many do not understand but feel. Your presence brings calm. Your speech carries weight. Your eyes reveal truth. All of this did not come from nowhere. It is the result of everything you went through. Without applause, without a stage, but with courage. You are not random, you were positioned. And you continue to be positioned. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is a tool. Your heart is not fragile. It is accessible. And God uses accessible, sensitive, real people. Because they are the ones who touch where words cannot reach. You are one of those people. And you have come this far for a reason. Everything you went through was preparation. And now you are more whole, more aware, stronger. Not to carry the world on your shoulders, but to walk with purpose. And when your mission begins to reveal itself, you understand why you needed so much shaping. Those who carry light must be firm so as not to go out along the way. Feeling everything, perceiving everything, seeing what no one else sees. This is heavy. But this weight is not punishment. It is responsibility. God does not give spiritual eyes to just anyone. He gives them to those who are willing to see, even when it hurts. To those who choose love, even in the face of chaos. And to those who continue even when they are not understood. You carry something precious, awareness. This does not make you better, but it makes you more attentive. And those who see transform. First themselves, then their surroundings. That's why you can no longer hide. You can no longer pretend you don't see. Your sensitivity is the answer to an increasingly numb world. Your role is to illuminate, not with pretty words, but with true presence. You have already understood that it is pointless to live by betraying yourself, erasing yourself, or molding yourself to please others. The world needs your truth, your clarity, your courage to see what others avoid, and still continue to love. If you have made it this far, do not ignore what you feel anymore. Do not despise what you see anymore. Do not doubt what is already clear in your heart. You are not strange. You are not fragile. You are someone in the process of awakening. And God is using you just as you are, sensitive, firm, and true.